Hi everyone, Dan from NerdShay here. Today we're going to be working on our first project, this 35-row cowl. Now the reason why we're going to work on a 35-row cowl instead of a scarf is because this cowl is going to work up pretty quick. And when you're starting your first project, you're going to have a lot of doubt in your mind. You're going to say, I'm not doing this right. You're going to say, I hate how it looks. The stitches don't look right. That's okay. You're learning. So instead of approaching a 200-row scarf, I'm not going to have the motivation for that, so I don't know if you would. We're going to do something quick, and it's just a simple 35-row cowl. So the materials that you are going to need are a 10mm or size N crochet hook and two colors of worsted weight yarn. You can also opt to use one color of worsted weight yarn and just make two separate balls, as we're going to be working with two strands of yarn at a time, which don't worry, I'll show you how to do. Before we get started, I want to ask you a question. Did you know that I have an Etsy store? And there's a bunch of patterns in there. You can make different hats. You can make this hipster of time cowl. So if you're interested, you can go to my Etsy store and check it out. This hipster of time cowl is actually on sale right now, and the first 20 patterns are listed for only $1. So get it now before that time runs out, and so you can get and work on this project once you feel comfortable enough. There's also going to be more patterns to come, so definitely give my Etsy shop a follow, and then you'll be notified when the new patterns come out. Sorry for stumbling, still new to YouTube videos, and I'm trying to make this seem more natural. I don't know if that's working, but what we're going to do right now is we're going to jump into that project. Okay, so here I have my size N crochet hook, and I have my two strands of yarn. We're going to start this like any other project, and we're going to start with a slip knot. Now, when using two strands of yarn, you really want to make sure that you always have two strands on the hoop. So in this case, I'll always have one pink and one blue. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chain 17. So do this with me. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See here? It dropped off, so I'm just going to pull that out, and we're going to redo 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Now I'm pretty sure I have 17, but I'm just going to go back and count. So now remember, when you count chains, you always count each V. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Awesome. So with double crochet, if you watched my double crochet video, you know that you're always going to double crochet in the fourth chain from the hook. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So right in here. Now again, it really depends on how you were taught. I always go in here, so we always have two loops on top, in this case 4, because we're working with two strands. So you're just going to double crochet. If you do not know how to double crochet, please take a second and watch my double crochet video, okay? I also want to mention, double crocheting with two strands is kind of difficult, so take your time. Don't go too fast. You always want to make sure you wrap around, you want to make sure you go underneath, and you want to make sure that you always have the double loops here. Okay? If this is your first time working with double loops, we're going to pause. Now, keep in mind, while I have one pink and one blue, I'm just going to refer to this as one loop. If you're using one color, make sure that you have two loops, not just one loop on here. The reason why I'm going to refer to this as one loop is that it's similar to using a thicker yarn. We're just using two loops to add this really nice color combo, and it's also going to be a quicker project because the yarn's larger. Okay, so we're going to double crochet all the way across. Now notice as I'm double crocheting, you might see my hand go like this. That is making sure that I'm pulling up the yarn from my yarn ball and my yarn skein. You always want to make sure the tension is pretty loose. You don't want to make sure that you're like struggling and like moving your project as you're crocheting, which I am very guilty of doing. Oop, went through all 3. So we're just double crocheting across. in every chain. Now this might be a little hard to see, but my last chain here is a little tight. So I just want to, you saw me pull it apart with my fingers, and that's okay to do. Okay, so we double crocheted across, so we are going to count. If we had 17 chains, we should not have 17 double crochet. Please keep in mind that the last chain 3 is our first double crochet. So with that being said, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 double crochet, and that's what you should have. Now, I'm going to, because this is a video based for beginner crocheters, I'm going to take a second to talk about turning in a double crochet. The normal way to turn in a double crochet is to chain 3. So we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. And then you turn and you double crochet. You skip this one and you double crochet in here. The issue I find with that is that it leaves very big gaps and holes, and it doesn't always look good. You can do this. If you cannot do what I'm about to do, please do the chain 3, turn, and do that. What we're going to do instead is we are just going to turn and we're going to single crochet. Now you see how I have this loop and this loop? We have those pairs of 2. I'm not going to go through this loop. I'm going to go through this loop that's further from my hook and insert. And then I'm going to single crochet again. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. So we were here. You're going to turn your project. You are going to insert your hook and single crochet. And then you're going to insert your hook into this. I call them a leg, but you're going to insert it into this leg and you're going to single crochet again. If you need to take some time because it's a new technique, please pause and rewatch this part of the video, but we are going to continue. So after this, you're going to single crochet across. Ooh, see? Dropping yarn happens, especially working with 2 strands. Totally normal, so don't worry about that. Okay, and as we approach the end of row 2, please pause this video if you need to catch up to the end of row 2. Now, does this look correct to you? No. We're missing a stitch here. So remember, at the end of each row, and in this case it's only going to be our first row, you want to single crochet or double crochet into the top of the chain 3. Okay? And you are going to double crochet. Awesome. I'm going to do that special turn. The point of me doing this turn where it's like 2 single crochets on top of each other is to make the edge straighter and to reduce that hole. So we're going to do it again. We single crochet. We are then going to go through that leg and single crochet. Again, if you can't do this or you don't want to, then just chain 3 and turn. Remember though, if you chain 3, you're skipping this stitch and you're going right into here. We're going to do this last row together. And as we do this last row together, I just want to show you how to double crochet into the top of this stitch, like that type of double crochet turning technique. And then after that, I'm going to leave you on your own to get to row 35. As a tip, if you are someone who has a hard time distinguishing rows and you can't look at your work and be like, oh, this is one row, this is another row, which is difficult to do at first, you know, it's just like reading in a new language. You may not be able to identify characters or words right away. It's the same thing with crocheting. You may not be able to identify rows. So what I do is I always have a notebook or a post-it and I just do a tally mark. And every row I do a tally. Okay, so we are at the end of row 3. So now in this last stitch, you see how we have the V on the side? That's what we're going to crochet into. So go through, well, wrap around first. Go through. We have 4 strands on top, which in this case is our like normal 2 strands because we're working with 2 strands of yarn. And you just do a normal double crochet. Awesome. So that is 3 rows. I need you to do 35 rows. When you're done with row 35, you can unpause the video, and then I'm going to count the rows, show you how to count them, and then we're going to sew it together so it makes a cowl and a ring. Okay, and I'm going to show you a really easy way to sew everything together. You are going to need a tapestry needle. I will also demo with a crochet hook how to sew it together if you do not have a tapestry needle on hand. So I will see you in a minute. Hi and welcome back. So by this time I'm going to assume that you just finished your 35th row. So what I'm going to do is take out my crochet hook and we're going to count together. So if you do not know how to count, what you're looking for is you're looking for each of these rows. So I just pointed to 4 different rows. If you're really unsure, what you can do is stick your finger in and you see how these 2 posts are separating but these 2 aren't? That means that that's 1 row. So going and following that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. Awesome. Did I make it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. So we have 35 rows. So the way we're going to finish this is we're going to put our hook back in. You're just going to do 1 chain. And before you cut, what I normally do is I normally double it and then triple. Okay, so I have like 3 times this length. That might be too long. It's just a habit that I've fallen into. I'm going to cut this. And then I'm going to pull it out. And then tighten. Awesome. So now we have this. This knot can still open up. But what I do, because I hate hiding tails, but it's kind of necessary to do. You can't just have this like dangling out and be like, it's a project. So what I do is I actually use the tail to sew the project together. So we are going to jump to this side and we're going to have these 2 pieces. I am going to just fold it like this. So we're just looking at the seam. What you want to do right now is you want to decide which side do you like better. Do you like this side better? Or do you like the inside better? Which is the nicer side? I think for me, I'm going to choose this as my inside or my outside of the pattern. So I want this part showing because that's more pink and I like that. So I'm going to make sure the right side or the side that I want to show is on the inside right now. And then you're going to fold it. So the side that you're looking at, this is going to be on the inside of my cowl. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just very simply knot these together. Okay, just any normal knot like how you would tie your shoes. Just don't put a bow. Okay, so we're just going to knot these together. Now I use this to kind of pin them together. What we are going to do now is we are going to go through these loops that you see here from our chain. And we're just going to go through the far loop on our last row double crochet. So if you do not have a tapestry needle and you only have a crochet hook, what you're going to do is you're going to go through just the far loop. Let me do that again. You're going to go through just the far loop. You're going to skip this loop and you're going to go into the loop from the chain. Awesome. So this is the underside of the chain that we didn't go through. You're then going to just pull, and you can yarn over, twist your hook. I don't know why I did that. Let's redo that. You can yarn over, and you're going to pull through. Okay? So I have that here. You're not going to chain. You're not going to single crochet. You saw how I just pulled through? I'm just going to keep that momentum going and just pull through the whole string. Awesome. Now I'm going to swap sides. And I'm going to go through, I am not right-handed, so this might look weird. I'm going to go through these two. I'm going to skip that close one. I'm just going to go into the far one. And then I'm going to wrap it around. Okay, this might look weird because I'm so far from being right-handed and able to do this, so this is kind of awkward. Okay, and you're going to pull through. Now, if you were smart, unlike me, you also could have just flipped the project. Okay, so now we have the yarn on this side, and you just want to keep that going. We're going to go this way, then this way, then this way, then this way, then this way. I would not do an overcast where you like go through, you wrap the yarn around, you go through, because the seam is going to be really chunky. If you do it this way, it reduces the seam. So now I'm going to show you how to do this with the tapestry needle. So I have my needle here. Okay, Beauty Brand. Okay, it's hard to put two through. So what I do is I fold these up like this, and then I just mush. Okay. Now this is the end of your tail. So if the yarn gets messed up, that's okay because the end of your tail is going to get cut off. You can also, if you are more patient, unlike me, thread them one at a time. Okay. But just make sure that they're going to go through the right way or the same way. Awesome. So they're going through the same way. Booyah. So I'm going to, if you ever lose your yarn, because this is a lot of color, it can get kind of distracting, just tug. Okay, so I'm on this side. So I need to go back this way because we're not looping it around. So I'm going to go through these two, skip the close, and go over the far. Okay. Under these, skip, and then go through. And then pull. Through here, skip, and then go through. Now, you really only need one stitch per single crochet or per double crochet and through this bottom loop because we did a chain of 17, those last three. So we should have 15 double crochet at the beginning and the end. So you really should only be doing this once. So don't go through the loop again. Okay? And we're just going to keep going. Okay? I sometimes will hold my project like this. to prevent having to turn it all the time. Because like I said, I am severely left-handed. And we are sewing. Okay, we're at this last one. I'm just gonna pull, make sure that's tight, but don't pull too tight because it'll scrunch up. So hold this end and pull. Going through our last. Okay, now if you notice, this is free. So I want to actually sneak one more stitch in. So wherever you can fit the needle at this point, you're gonna put it in. Awesome. Now we're gonna do an overcast stitch. So my yarn is coming from here. So I'm gonna reinsert it to where it came from and pull gently. Do not close the stitch. We're gonna pull until it gets small. I'm gonna put my yarn through the 2 loops of the closing knot and pull. And that's gonna help knot it off. And I'm gonna do that one more time. We're gonna go through, we're gonna pull slow, we're gonna go through the 2 loops of the closing yarn, and we're gonna knot. Now, it would be lovely if we could just be like snip, snip, and we're done, but we gotta do one more step. We have to hide this yarn in the seam, because if this knot comes out, everything's gonna unravel. So all I do is I just try to find like a light way, and I just pull. You don't have to make this too tight. This is not holding the project together. You're just doing this to hide the yarn. Okay, so after like 3 or 4, I normally bring it to the middle, because when you wash this, if it like loosens up a bit. Okay. Awesome. So now what we can do is we can leave a little bit of slack in case they're stretching, and we can cut. Awesome. Now when you have to hide these, same deal, okay? Roll over, we're gonna add a little twist this time. See if that helps. Did it, kinda did. Booyah. Now this is not holding anything together, okay? This is just going to be something that you need to hide. So I'm just gonna do the same thing, that part 2 of what we just did. I am just going to put that in there. We'll try to make it meet the middle again. Again, you're just hiding this. This is not structure, it's just hiding. Last one. Cool. Pull it back a little. Awesome. These are right-handed scissors I'm using. Betrayal, I know. Okay, so now that we have these little dangly bits, totally fine. We are going to invert our project. And now look, the seam is visible, okay? But with the 2 different colors, it's not going to be as visible. Like if I'm like, you're not going to be able to like see it very quick. It's a nicer seam. It's going to pinch in a little. That's totally fine. But this is our finished project. So this is and maybe your first finished cowl, and that's exciting. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my headset off, which I have to use because there's construction going on outside. Normally I don't wear a headset during these videos. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to put this cowl on, and we can see what it looks like. Now I know it looks really stiff, but if you're wearing a mask, because we're still in 2020, it works out really well. So you can kind of cover your mouth and the mask, or roll it down and do a little roll up to adjust it. Or you can just kind of push it down, roll it up just in the back, and then it lies flat here. So when I wear this, I normally wear this in the winter under a jacket, or you can wear it under a jean jacket to kind of make it give a little warmth here. Okay. But it's a really nice cowl. It's done really quick. It makes a great present or gift. You can decrease the amount of rows if you want it tighter. You can decrease the initial chain if you want it like thinner, so you can make it for a child. If you keep going with the stitch, instead of doing 35, maybe you want to triple it, do around like 110, and then that will be almost a full-length scarf. Or you just keep going until you find a scarf length that you like. Keep in mind, because you're using 2-strand, it is a little bit thicker, which is good because it's not going to like drape everywhere. It's going to stand up, and that'll keep everything warm. You can smush it down, and do it like this. It's smushed down now. It looks good. Awesome. So that's your first project. So I want to say congratulations if this is your first project. If it's not in your experience, thank you for checking out the video and crocheting with me. I'm going to say goodbye, but I'm going to swap back to this thing. Haha! So I want to say thank you for joining. I want to say thank you so much. I just want to keep saying thank you. This is my first project YouTube video, so I'm very excited about it. I'm going to be super excited to upload it. You can like this video, you can subscribe. There'll be more videos, more patterns coming. I'm planning on doing an entire design series and how to turn something like a t-shirt into a sweater through crocheting, not turning the actual t-shirt into a sweater. So you can follow this channel. I'll eventually get there. With school starting back up and I am a high school teacher, it is going to start slowing down a little, but I am going to try to be more consistent. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitch if you want to see me crochet live, or you want to see my projects as they're coming out and get more updates on YouTube. My most used social media is definitely Instagram, so definitely give me a follow there if you want to follow along. And I want to say, as I always end a video, happy crafting!